I want to speak, the shir this week is dedicated in memory, and before Shlema, of a woman in California. She doesn't have a Hebrew name, but her English name is Susan Felix. She should have Refuah Shlema, B'toch Shar Chol Yisrael, even though the doctors have said that there is no way that she could live, right? We've already heard from Rav Moshe Sternbach Paskins about Dr. Benjamin Surovsky that it's not a nace to daven for such a person because medical advancement is constantly changing, and the person, even if the doctors say they're not going to live, but there's always a possibility for change. Okay, I want to share with you now in the next year a concept that I thought of, and I actually have been in touch with Rav Edelstein. I'm hopefully meeting with him this week about it, and I believe it's a major concept that I would like to share with the kollel and with everybody who listens to these shirim, right? I think it could have a major impact on Klal Yisrael. We know the Gemara says, if you look at this Gemara, it's on the back of these sheets I gave out, Yuma Daf Tes Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, Mikdash Rishon Ma Mipnei Ma'acharev Shlosh Dvarim Avodah Zarah Gilui Arayos Shvichas Damim. There were three primary Averas. Mikdash Sheni Sha'asukah B'Torah Mitzvahs Gemilas Chasadim. Why was the second base of Mikdash destroyed? Right? And the Gemara answers, Sinat Chinam. Lamdecha Shashkula Sinat Chinam Keneged Shlosh Averas. Right? That Sinat Chinam parallels the three. Right? Rav Yochanan Rav Eliezer Damri Chavayu Rishonim Shnisgala Avonim Nisgala Kitzam, the base of Mikdash Rishon, those three Averas, Gilui Arayos Shvichas Damim Avodah Zarah, the Avera was revealed, so the end was revealed. Achronim, that's us. Shlo Nisgala Avonim, Lo Nisgala Kitzam. The end wasn't revealed. Now, so we see from this Gemara that Sinat Chinam is the Avera, which is stopping the Gula from coming. So my question is like this: if that's true, then our whole focus really should be on ending Sinat Chinam. Now, it's true, there's a lot of talk about Sinat Chinam, and a lot of shmuzim and a lot of shirim, but what about practically ending Sinat Chinam? What do you have to do? What do you have to do to end Sinat Chinam? Just don't hate your neighbor. That's a little bit too vague. It's not going to work. So I came up with the following idea. It's not really my chiddush. I just really understood it from reading Rav Edelstein's sheets for the past few years. And I realized this is exactly what he's saying. And I went to his gabbai, I called him up, and he said, yes, this is what the Rav is exactly saying. I began to gel by me when, after Meiron. After he spoke Meiron, he said this idea, but really this week it gelled much more. Right? What Rav Edelstein is saying is that we know that there's a concept, Koma David Rachman al Tov of it. When a person has something bad happen, you're supposed to say Koma David Rachman al Tov of it. Right? That means that what happened looks bad, like we spoke before about the court case and the weddings. Right? It's not really bad. It's really good. Number one. Number two, that means that if it's not really bad, then if someone's doing bad to me, that means he's not really doing bad to me. Right? He's doing good to me. Now, he might have bad intentions. Yosef HaTzadik said to his brothers, you had bad intentions, but Hashem had good intentions. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter how bad the intentions of the person are, but really they're good, number one. And number two, said Rav Edelstein, is that it's coming from Hashem. Right? This person is a shliach from Hashem to do what is being done to you. Right? So let's say the case we spoke about just before, a court case. Someone makes a court case against me. Right? I won already. There's really no reason to rehash it. Yeah, Hashem wants this person to go to the weddings of his grandchildren in Chutz La'aretz, so he makes a court case against him. But the person maybe had bad intentions, but that doesn't affect me. That. And said Rav Edelstein, and therefore you're not allowed to have any negative feelings against these people. If someone does something bad against me, that's a gzera from Shemayim, and therefore, as far emotionally, I am not allowed to have any bad feelings against them. I spoke to Rav Yaakov Hill last week about it. He said that's halacha. Halacha is that and that's Sinat Chinam. Why is it Sinat Chinam? Because you're not allowed to have those feelings. They're incorrect feelings, right? Really, Hashem is doing this for your benefit. Every single thing, as Rav Shimon Galoi told me on the beach in Netanya, everything Hashem does to you is infinite chesed. Therefore, you're not allowed to have negative feelings against people. maybe they have negative feelings against you, but that's their problem, right? Hashem is sending something to me, I'm not allowed to have negative feelings. That's Sinat Chinam. So it comes out like this. So anytime I have a negative feeling against somebody, that's a wrong feeling, it's incorrect, and it's asur, it's Sinat Chinam. So how do we end that, right? So what I understood from Edelstein, and his Gabi confirmed that, hopefully meeting with him about it as well, is that we have to change the status quo of all of Klal Yisrael, right? Everybody thinks that when someone hurts me, someone sues me, what else? Someone insults me, someone, a spouse throws, a frying pan at my head or something like that. Some people think that that's something you're allowed to get upset. You're not supposed to get upset. One of the Gedolim was married to somebody who had psychological problems, and when his wife would come and start screaming at him, he would close the sefer, listen to her, very attentively. When she was satisfied that she had sufficiently, trashed him, he would walk away, and then he would just go on with his learning. And that is the correct Torah outlook towards these type of things, right? Like I told you once, I met Rav Sternbach, and he was smiling. I said, "Why is the Rav so happy?" He said, "There was just a major demonstration outside my house. They threw dirty diapers, rotten tomatoes. They took all my tzarim, they shred them in the paper shredder, right? I got all their mitzvahs, and they got all my averas. Why shouldn't I be happy?" That's the correct Torah outlook. The problem is that there's a status quo that people think, if people get upset with you, if people do something wrong, you get upset. So we need to change the status quo. How to do that? I'm not exactly sure. I'm working on that, and I'm working on an idea for a project for the 9 days where all Klal Yisrael does something together that we could change the status quo. That is definitely in great need. But I want to start off by sharing with you these words from the Gra, yeah? And it's one of the most famous Gras. It's here on the other side of the paper here. I'm not going to go through it inside. You could do that in your own time. It's on a new version of Evan Shlomo, page Lamed Gimel, Lukuti Agra. It's taken from the Bir Agadas in Becharos of Savad Be'atuni. No, actually that's in Bava Basra, right? In Bava Basra. That the Gra says like this. Basically, we know there are 4 animals that have one sign of kashrus, right? There's the Gamal, the Arnevet, the Shafan, and the Chazer. 3 of them, the sign is on the sign of kashrus on the inside. They chew their cud. They don't have split hooves. 1, the Chazer, has the split hooves, but he doesn't have the inner sign of kashrus. He doesn't chew his cud. Says the Gra, there's a remetz to the fact that a pagam in amuna on the inside is much worse than a pagam in actions. And this is a pshat in the Gemara in Yuma, he says, right? The Rishonim, they were doing the worst 3 averas you could think. But, inside they're right. They just had a very big Yetzer Hara. Okay, when you're around someone with such a big Yetzer Hara, you want to be careful. They shouldn't kill you or do other things to you. But, they were all right inside. Right? We'll read this line inside. He says here, where the lines start getting wide. Right? He says here, right, 3 lines from the where they get wide. V'amri shonim shayabem avodah zara gilarais v'shichis damim shetola b'tchonim b'Hashem ki maaseyem ram od shekulim b'harig v'al yavor. All 3 things are yag v'al yavor. V'lim alaya tov mod, but their heart was fine. Shemalis b'tochen al kulam. V'achronim asku b'targim. Not only they were not doing these 3 Troublebearers, but they were learning Torah and Gemilas Chasadim. So why were they destroyed? Because their heart was messed up. They didn't have bitachon Hashem. They had kina and sina, right?
How can they have bitachon Hashem if they're reading Barzai?
Pasuk says it, but Navi says it.
Right. U'lechein rishonim hargulu b'shloshim malchus. Okay. Now says the Gra something else here. If you look on top on the Evan Shlomo, he says something very scary, right? He says like this. He says, "Avol b'shas katol gemilas chadim shekol ze eino ela lasos lo shem." That means if a person has Sinat Chinam, he's getting upset with other people. If somebody, calls you a name, or takes you to court, or causes you financial loss, or someone screams at you, and you get upset, that means you have Sinat Chinam, because you don't really understand it's coming from Hashem, not from the person, right? So then why are you learning Torah, right? He says, Eino and Gemilas Chasadim, Eino ela lasos lo shem. You're doing it because you want to feel good about yourself. Yeah? If a person has the correct bitachon, and he understands that everything's from Hashem, and everything's doing from Hashem, then his Torah is in place. But if not, says the Gemara, you're doing it because you're self-centered, and you want comfort. Yeah? It's quite scary, because it really talks to all of us, and we really have to work on it. But the point is, which I really believe in, I'm really trying to get this meeting with Rav Edelstein, and to try to think of an idea which will work. And again, anybody who has an idea, please let me know as soon as possible, because we want to try to implement it. But the point here is that Klal Yisrael has to change. And that is exactly right after Meron. And I went to America just to say this point, and I didn't cop it on such a deep level. But the point is, Klal Yisrael has to change. We have to understand, no one ever does anything bad to you. It's not coming from the person, it's coming from Hashem. The person is a shliach, okay, that's Hashem's business, he chose this shliach, whatever. But never to feel bad feelings about anybody. Now, it is a high madrega, but it's much easier if everybody in Klal Yisrael would have this clear, and they would understand it's not the right thing to do, much easier. We'll speak about this more. Amen.